Hello everyone, here comes the latest video on TSO ISPF. So in the past 1 month, in the August 2020, I have been giving a daily updates related to the TSO ISPF, and I have been publishing each day a single post. Either it can be on the YouTube, Twitter, all social medias and Instagram and Telegram as well. So I hope you might have been watching those daily updates, and I hope it might have been helping you in the real-time work that you have been doing on. Okay, I just thought, like, why can't I make a video covering all the updates that I have posted in the past couple of days within the month of August 2020. Okay, without wasting any time, so let me go ahead with all the updates that have been discussed in the month of August. Okay, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to get more and more updates, and I'm available on all different social medias. Just you need to search for Kumaritchannel to subscribe it. Okay, this was the first image that I have published, where it shows the fundamentals on mainframe ZOS. This is the basic fundamentals that is required, either a initial starting programmer or freshers, or who wanted to refresh their mainframe certificates. Maybe they might have worked 5 years back or 10 years back, and they may be working now again, and as they wanted to refresh something, so it will be really helpful to them. I started with the time sharing option, then I've gave a simple definition on the ISPF, what is ZOS, zero downtime operating system, and what do we use in the front end, like CICS or IMS screens, and then backend we use IMS DB and DB2, and the languages that we use is COBOL, PL1, assembler, and for the automation we also use Rex, and we have other languages, intermediate languages, that easy to read, so that is used for reporting. So those are there, and to compile and run we use a JCL, and then other things, the common terminologies that we use: user ID, password, physical sequential file. It should have the maximum length of 44 bytes, and PDS we call it as a partition data set. And what are the specifications that we need to make sure while creating a PDS is that the maximum 54 bytes, that includes open and close parentheses, and the member should be of 8 bytes minimum. Maximum is it, so you can also create a member with 2 bytes or 3 bytes as well. Okay, so PDS is basically the combinations or multiples of sequential data sets, is nothing but PDS. Then we have GDG, and GDG has the specific rules and the qualifier. So we will be separating qualifier with a dot, and what it will allow: A to Z, 0 to 9, and the other special characters. Okay, so this was the first image that I have posted. I started with that, and the next one I've explaining about, this is all about the TSO line commands that we use in our day-to-day. If you're already working on a real mainframe system, so you might have came across, and this will be really helpful to them on their line commands, like insert line, repeating line. If you want to delete any specific line, we use a small d or a capital D, and if you want to delete n number of lines, specify D followed by the line number. D10 will give you that. To exclude any number of lines, and the copy, move, in order to move specific records, you use M, and if you want to copy a group of records, then you use CC. And A stands for after cutting the records, where you want to paste it, you use A or B. And if you want to translate to uppercase or lowercase, suppose for example when you got the data set, when a different system is sending a file to the mainframe, so let's say a Java system is sending a file to the mainframe system, and the entire data they have sent is in uppercase, and you want to convert into a lowercase, just open the data set and type UC at the start and UC at the end of the record and within the columns, so that it will convert the entire data set into an uppercase. So the similar way opposite is a lowercase as well. Okay, so these were the important line commands that you can use. And other thing is columns. This will open the columns area, as you can see here, and then caps on or caps off. So for a data set, the data to be either in the lowercase or uppercase, right? When you give a caps on, whatever you type within the data set, all will be converted to an uppercase. Okay. If you want to change any specific string, you can use change, and if you want to find any specific string, you can use a find. And hex, if you want to see the data in an hexadecimal format, you can use hex on or off. Okay, then the other one that I have given is TSO versus ISPF. I think I haven't posted it, but just I want to cover here. So TSO stands for Time Sharing Option.ISPF, Interactive Search and Display Facility. It allows users to access the ISPF environment, and where you can see the panels and the dialog boxes there. And the main functionality of the TSO is to submit a job, batch job, submit a job, monitor and view the job, and other program development that you can use is compile, link edit, execute and run. And the dataset management like insert, editing, updating, delete records of a dataset. And coming to the ISPF, it's an interactive search and display facility. User has to interact with the mainframe from the ISP menus. So once you log into the mainframe, the first page, the first screen that you see is ISPF, right? So I'm talking about the page when we connect with the web world. So it's called as a page. Here we call it as a screen or panels within the mainframe environment. The combination of TSO ISPF, we call it as TSO/ISPF, and this is all a menu driven. Okay. The other TSO commands that are very much useful is a cut to copy the records within a dataset. On the command line, when you type cut, it will cut the entire records. If you have 1 million records within the datasets, or it may be 1,000 records within the datasets, it cuts the entire records. And whatever the data set, wherever the data set you want to get it, that paste, you can use a paste operation, paste command. So delete will delete the specific data set. So if you use this TSO del data set name on the command line, it will delete the specific data set. Okay. The other option is to create to copy. If you want to copy data from one data set to another data sets, on the command line you can create .zf2 space .zl. So it will another window will open to copy data from the existing to the next data set. Keys to assign any favorite keys, and the refresh member, it will list the properties, list DS. It will list, if you want to see the properties of a specific dataset name, you can just give list ds on the command line, or you come back and just give specify s after the beside the member dataset. So you can see, if you want to see any broadcasting messages that may be sent by the mainframe system programmer or the mainframe admin, so just you need to type lsbc. So you can see the broadcasting messages. So especially when there is any upgrades, or when there is some communication need to be passed. I know we'll get an emails notification, but earlier initially, so when this program maybe the 1980s and 1990s, okay, so there all the messages were being communicated with the broadcasting messages. So where they used to check the messages to see any updates on the mainframe scene. And also we have some send commands, so where you can pass a message from one terminal to another terminal that is sent. So that way we used to communicate. So these are the TSO commands. And so another thing, SDSF. So once you submit a job, so if you want to monitor the job, what is the status of the job, if you want to see it, then you go to the SDF. SDF stands for status display all. Okay. System display and search facility, sorry, is also called as a spool. Spool stands for simultaneous peripheral operations line. What do you mean when the JCL is submitted, right? So what all you see, so you see a job name, you see a program name, you see that dollar symbol there, and end it. These are the messages that you see, right? What do we see in the spool? So you see all these things. And how to check the status of a job? So give just st, so you can see the status of the job. What is a line command? So these are the different things. When you want to see the message logs, you give a question mark and then s to see the information. How to know which version of the ZOS operating system? This is very important, right? So when you're working on any of the operating systems, you need to know the version of the operating system that you are using. If you have your personal laptop or a desktop, so what you do, you will be knowing, right? Either it's a Mac version or Windows 8, 10, so or Unix version, what or Linux. So in the same, when you're working on the mainframe, it's a main thing that we need to know, right? So just type sys on the SDSF, so it will give you the version of it, or type WHO on the SDSF command line, so it will tell you the version and other things as well. Suppose if you want to copy the spool content, suppose you have submitted a job and you wanted to especially this XDC will be helpful during the testing time, right? So when you want to share the test result to the QA, right? So QA wanted to know, like, okay, whether the JCL updates or the program updates that you have done, so that need to be artifacted, or that need to be documented. So in that case, what you can do, so today you are telling a QA to review it. I mean, QA, based on his time or availability, he may review your code changes, right? So but where is the log might have been gone in the next day, so you need to back it up. So using XDC, so you can just back it up the log and store it in a specific data set, and you can just mention to them, right? So this is the log that's for the jobs that has been executed, and he can review that, making sure like all the steps has been executed successfully. So that way they can monitor it. I mean, that way they can review it in the when the QA is assigned. Not only this, so when you are trying to monitor the jobs daily, and if you wanted to back up the logs of it, or especially when you're trying to see what is the time it has taken today, and especially when you are doing an optimization, right, code optimization, and you wanted to test based on the loads then at the time, so maybe you can copy all the logs to the day 1, day 2, day 3, maybe the 10 days you might be sending a load, increasing the load day to day, and checking the optimization. That way there are different factors, maybe it may be useful. Okay, just I'm trying to explain the real time, I mean, scenarios that I have faced, and I have been doing this XDC as well. Okay, and the next one is another one important thing that we do in the SDSF is maximum written code for the complete job, that is a 4-digit. This is what we see. And what are the different written codes you can see is mostly on the 00, success and warning, error and severe error, right? So I hope the people who are working already in the mainframe, you might have seen, and the people who have just started learning it, you'll be able to see this kind of written codes, right? Filter the jobs in SDSF, so you can filter the jobs. Maybe there are an n number of jobs that may be running in the spool, so if you want to filter, you can use a filter option. So here if you want to just see the abandoned jobs in the spools, you can just type filter max AB star, so it will give you a list of abandoned jobs there. And if you want to see the JCL errors, and maybe and from the morning you may be struggling to fix some specific errors, so it's keep on getting errors, and in between you may see some of the jobs that has been successfully executed, so some may be enabled. But if you have like 10 to 15 jobs, and if you want to see only the specific JCL error, so just you can filter it and it will show you. And in the same way, if you want to see the jobs which have run successfully with a written code of 0, so then yes, you can also use this filter. That way you can do it. And coming to the mainframe emulators or mainframe terminal emulators, so we have mainframe emulators and Hercules. So that was another thing that if you want to install on your desktop and try it off, so maybe you can just go to Google and download the Hercules. I mean, it's a typical way of installing that if you want to practice something on the Windows before without any connecting to the IBM mainframe systems, right? So that's a typical you will face little challenges. Sometimes it may be easy, okay, but those are called as emulators. And the mainframe terminal emulators, so like Mocha, Vista, TN3270, and the IBM PCOM. So these are the different mainframe terminal emulator. We call it as a terminal emulators, and these are different one. And So that way we will be connecting to the mainframe. Okay, so that is the difference between the mainframe emulator and the mainframe terminal emulator. If you are installing Mocha or TS3 and 3 Vista TN3270 or Hummingbird or an IBM PCOM, that is a terminal emulator. From the terminal emulator you are going to connect to the actual terminal, that is IBM mainframe systems, and then you are going to get started on the work. Okay, so then other things I have posted is mainframe useful tips. So want to see the last 30 reference data sets, so you can see this. And if you want to search a member when you have an high level qualifier, want to know the last 10 commands, want to replace a string, or want to know who is using this and want to cut the lines. So these are the very helpful very useful tips that I can say that we come across in our day-to-day work life. I have created a number of things here, so that based on my experience that I have came across over a decade of a mainframe developer that I have been working on it. So thought like, why can't I share all this information to everyone so that it will be really helpful to them in their day-to-day developer life cycle that they are going through. Okay, and coming to the mainframe tricks for the panel or screen, how to swap between the two screens. So just swap F9, you press the F9 function key, and how many screens are open, swap list. And then can we name the screens? Yes, you can name the screens by using screen name, and then you can use the specific screens there. And then another thing that I have discussed is commands at the command line: turn on, turn off, PF show. So in the bottom you will be seeing the function keys, right? F1, F2 through the F3 to exit. So those function keys, if you want to turn off, then PF show off. So PF show on if you want to exclude the certain records. So XOL, turn off columns, columns on, columns off, recovery. So then how do we come to the bottom and the top, and the locate line number. If you want to go to a specific row, just type L and L space the number, so it will take you to the specific locate line number, right? And Mainframe TSO ISPF cut command. So cut, paste, cut after, cut before, cut 10 lines. So these are the things that I have already posted in the Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. If you haven't not subscribed, so you can subscribe to my latest Telegram channel, so where I'm keeping in a daily updates there. So just what you need to do is you just search for the Kumaritchannel there, so you will be subscribing to my Telegram channel, and also the same way for Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. The next cut commands were continued. So these are the other useful commands, and then finally I came updating the find commands. So these are the different find commands that you can useful, and other find tricks to find the previous, next, prefixing and the suffix. And then next finally how do we exclude all, and then we went on with the combining of the different commands using the find. And then finally I have posted with the updates on the useful debugging with the character strings. So if you want to count the total numeric values in a data set, you can use this specific string, the find command. So especially these will be really helpful during the debugging, right? So when you have a data, there may be some COBOL program which is being running, and suddenly you see some data issue with that. So we don't know, sometimes we struggle a lot to identify the issues. So in that case, sometimes what happens is when the data is coming from the different systems, there are chances that the data, wherever the data is being entered from specific systems, so they may enter some unwanted data, some kind of a null values or any kind of a character information, and that is being now sent to the main system. When it is passed to the specific variables, so sometimes it may throw an data error or some kind of a issue that may be there, and you have like maybe 10,000 records or maybe 100k records, and it may be causing some issue, right? So So these specific find commands will give you a lot of help to understand or to the debugging, and not only the same thing that you can also use to change as well. So these were the useful debugging find tricks that I have shared. Okay, this is the latest ones. This I haven't yet posted, but I'm going to record in this video. So okay, the Mainframe TSO ISPF cut, del and sort. If you want to replace a string with another string, so use C string 1 and string 2. String 1 will be replaced with the string 2, and if you want to replace all strings in a data sets, you use extra keyword called as a all, so that within a data set, for example, if my name is Kumar, so Kumar is there repeated, let's say 50 times. If I want to replace Kumar with Vijay, so then it will be replaced with all the 50 times there. If you want to replace only the first occurrences, so then you can specify 1 there here as I specified. So it will change for the first occurrence. Want to sort the records? Yes, you can sort the record using the command prompt there. So sort, and you have to specify the starting position and the ending position, and how do you want to start, either it's an ascending order or descending order, you can do it. And if you want to exclude a specific records where the string is found, you just type X Kumar all, so it will exclude. Now you want to delete the non-excluded records, del all nx, it will delete all the non-excluded record, and want to delete the excluded records, del all x, right? So these are another useful TSO commands that we use, and these are really helpful to you guys. Okay, with that said, thank you so much for watching this tutorials. Whatever the daily updates I am been uploading. Thanks a lot for your support. Please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'll be really coming up with many more updates on the mainframe, and my main motto is to share the knowledge. And so I see sometimes like there are technologies where the people share their knowledge in the Java, .NET, when we see multiple forums there, and they exchange their technical updates and everything. I feel like we also should grow. Like, mainframe is been there from 1950s, and it's been running. Yes, it will still run. I'm very confident on it. So the only thing is just we need to upgrade with the lot of changes that's been going on. Okay, right. With that said, thank you so much. Thank you for all your support. Have a good day.